Welcome to Triumph of Chaos version 2.0 Deluxe. The game was just published a few weeks ago. It's my second bite of the apple. Originally, I did Triumph of Chaos version 1 in 2005, and then there was an expansion in 2007. Game continued to attract a band of very loyal players and supporters, and because of that, Clash of Arms asked that I would do, if I was interested in doing a second version of the game, which I just said I jumped at it. It was the first game I've ever designed, maybe the last, and so I could pass it up. And it was a chance to do some things better than I thought I did in the first version. And there've been a lot of good books that have come out in the last 10 years, or in the last 10 years since the game was published, that shed more light on the incredible story of the Russian Civil War. So that's what I did. About a week ago, Herman and I got together and just did a short 30-minute video of here's how you play this game. After we got finished with that video, Herman said, hey, we should get together in a week and let's play through like 3 turns of the game, or 4 turns, whatever we get through in a short afternoon. So that's what we did. The format of the video, at the beginning of each turn, there'll be a segment where Mark and I separately and secretly tell you what we want to do with that particular turn. We take a look at our cards, go through some of the choices, and plan our strategy for the turn. Then there's a political phase. For each turn, we summarize some of the key action, and then the action phase, we try to pick out the highlights of the turn and talk through them. At the end of the video, there's a short clip of Mark and I discussing how we think each player is doing, both the red and the white, and how the game's going. Also, I'll put in a couple other clips with that I've recorded after we were done the session, so it ties the game together a little better. So anyways, apologies for the disjointed nature of the video. This is the second one that I've done, and Herman's camera work was fine, and he recorded most of it, but I'm recording these extra segments just off my iPhone, so we'll see how it works out. Anyways, with that, let's get into the video. I thought it may be helpful to step through some of the components that are in Triumph of Chaos before we jump into the game Mark and I played. There is actually a sheet included in every game. There you go. Components and cards, and we explain everything as in what is on this game piece. Counters, cards, all the types of cards, everything. So just use that. And also, if you played Triumph of Chaos before, there's something on the back side of that is a changes from Triumph of Chaos 1. So you can just read that. That'll tell you basically what's different. And there's also a handy abbreviations list. We have quite a few abbreviations. You can just check that out. Anyways, let's run through a few of these components before we dive into the game. So what should we start with? Cards, center of any card-driven war game. This is an action card right there for the Reds, and as you can see, very similar to most other card-driven war games. There's the event's name, and if it has an asterisk in front of it, which it does, once you play it as an event, it's removed from the game. There's the year that you add the cards to the deck. You just start out with the 1918 deck, 1 for the red and 1 for the white. I think they have 15 cards in both. That's the number for the card in the red action deck, so R3. In the left-hand corner, there's a handy little diagonal thing so that when you hold your cards, you can see what you actually have in your deck, or in your hand, I should say. This value in the top left-hand corner is the critical item on any card, which is basically the juice. You have four points to do things with. You could make 4 activations, activate a space for either combat or movement. You could use it for replacements, so then that becomes replacement steps. You could use it for SRs, or strategic redeployment, in which case there's a little table you consult to see what the 4 buys you, and then you can always play a card, obviously, as the event. What else? In this game, the action cards also serve another purpose, in contrast to a game like Passive Glory. You can invest these in the political phase, and when you do that, this value in the upper left-hand corner becomes, so to speak, your political juice. And the higher card value you put in one of the 3 political boxes, there's a box for the red, or I should say, for the red political cards, for the white political cards, and for the other political cards. There's 22 of each. So if you put in a higher value, you're more likely to win it. And if you win, so to speak, a political box, you get to select the cards as opposed to your opponent selecting them, or they being randomly generated. However, there's a catch. If you both put in high value cards, let's say you both toss in a 5 into the red political box, means you tie, which means a number of cards, 3 cards, are generated randomly. So the more juice you put in there, higher likelihood you'll win, but it's also the higher likelihood that something crazy will happen because so much focus is being put on the political component of the game. More random stuff happens, like in real life. This particular card also is somewhat unique. There's a few of these cards where it says or. You can either do what's on the right-hand side or the left-hand side for the event, not both, hence the word or. What else? There are leader cards. Here's a leader card. This just provides a little background on the leader. There's also special rules here in terms of referencing the rule book, so you don't have to constantly be looking in the rule book. Just put the cards out in front of you. You know it's a little special capabilities each leader has. These numbers on the right-hand side are just optional if you're not happy with the leader marker. Each leader counter, so to speak, has a rating on it, and you use that rating for everything. But if you want more chrome, there you go. In this case, Trotsky's withdrawal roll would be a 3. His pursuit rating would be a 4. His ability to reinforce would be a 4. His ability to counterattack would be a 4, and his ability to exploit would be a 3. Simply means roll that number or lower, and you get to do that capability. What else? Political cards. These are only used, obviously, in the political phase, and as you can see, there's different codes on these cards. 2W, think of these as influence points. 2W, 1W means 2 white or 1 white, or red, 1R. What you essentially do is after all these cards are determined, either players picking them or randomly generated, you line them up, just line them all up, and then you just read across and you net them out. So you might see a 2W and a 2R, that nets to 0, which means that faction control marker is not going to move on the faction control table. So you just net them out. It takes a difference of 2 to move 1 box. It takes a difference of 3 to get out of a control box. Some of the cards also have a white strip across on the upper portion of the card right here. In this case, it says 2RS for white, which means that if white selected this card, they would be able to say, hey, I'm declaring 2 replacement steps, and then they note it immediately. So most of the cards have a white strip, and they just do various things. You can only declare 1 effect during a political phase, if I remember correctly. What else? The map. Instead of these are the spaces. Big spaces, big beautiful spaces like this indicates a victory city. A 1 right there indicates a resource center. The game's made up of primarily victories, or the important part on the map is to check out where the victory cities are, because it's a differential game. So each turn you add up the number of victory cities you control. Let's say you're red, you control 10. The whites control 2, or you control 8. So 10 minus 8, red would get 2 victory points, and you would note those on the game track, and then you do that every turn. Once they get to be 21 victory points, I believe, you start rolling if it's 19-19, and the game can end. There's modifiers for it. These resource centers, where it indicates 1, here this is in Tula, is think of them as faucets. Basically what happens is once you get replacement steps, you have to run your replacement steps through a resource center. And that's how you repair or place in a particular location that can trace to that particular resource center. How do we keep track of resource centers? These handy things right there. They look like barrels. This is actually what Ed has been waiting for. He didn't order enough. There we go. What's the first rule of selling anything? Make sure you got enough supply to satisfy demand. We didn't. So I think they just came a day or 2 ago, so everyone should be getting their copies soon. So what you do is you just put these on a resource center like this. Moscow actually has 2 resource centers because it's so big. Same with Petrograd, I think those. And I think for the whites, maybe Perm, or not Perm, one of the cities way in the Euros East is worth 2. So we'd have 2 barrels here, and which means we could trace 2 replacement steps through Moscow. So that's that. And for control of victory cities, use one of these handy blocks. It makes it a lot easier to count them up. You can see them really quickly. What are these crazy sticks? I think we've included 6 in each game. Use them to divide the front lines. As we know, in the Russian Civil War, lines pop up all over the place. So in order to keep track of what's going on, we usually use those and toss them in between, or use anything you want. But it's kind of cool to the effect. What else should we take a look at? Let's take a look at some counters. Here's a leader counter, and there is the leader rating right there, L3. Use that for about everything when it involves a leader. In the bottom right-hand corner, 19 indicates that it comes in 1919, probably via guard. His alternative state. A lot of these leaders have alternative states. What happens if you try to use a leader and you roll a 6, then you get the beauty of flipping him to the alternative state. And in this case, this leader goes into debauchery. What's debauchery? In his particular case, look in the rules. I think it means you can't use him. He's occupied with a number of other items, so to speak. What else? Here's a army counter. It's bigger than normal, as you can see. It's a big counter. It's actually the same size as the leader counters. And let's just run through some of the information on this counter. Again, 20 indicates he comes in 1920. E indicates he's elite. See this little dot in the upper right-hand corner? That means he cannot be replaced or repaired. So once he takes a hit, you can't repair him, and once he's eliminated, he's eliminated. This IA right there, Insurrection Army. Special rules govern them. The numbers on the left-hand side in this case, a 5 indicates his attack value, a 3 indicates his loss factors. In this game, both players are rolling to inflict damage on the other player. The result is the number of loss factors inflicted on a side, and you have to satisfy those loss factors. So this army can take 3, then it flips. You've satisfied 3. Last number is its movement value, so 3. Essentially, it costs 1 to move space to space. There's a few. There's one crazy exception to that, so to speak. Right here, you see these little things that look like trails. They're called, I think, trail or road 2 in this game. Same difference. And every time an army moves from one space using one of these connections to another, it has to roll a die. If it hits a 1 or 2, it's stuck. And that's supposed to obviously simulate. These are great distances. The terrain's not great. There's no real railroads. And you told some guys to go over towards that city. They might get there, they may not. The smaller units are called corps in this game, that's right. And same kind of thing. This one's the Soviet secret police. Down here, you see the 2 is its attack value, 1 is its loss factors, and 4 is its movement. It's also an elite unit, as you would anticipate. Those are the basic components in Triumph of Chaos. So what we're going to do, I think the first segment is Mark talking about what he intends to do, and I had to leave the room. He got his cards, and he's going to run through some of those cards, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I think we did that each turn. So anyways, let's get into the strategy session.
And we're playing one of my favorite games, card-driven games, is Triumph of Chaos. It's version 2. You might have seen a video where we did some how to play, but now we're actually playing. We said after we got so excited to play, so luckily my wife wanted to get her hair cut today, so she's gone doing that, and we can now get some gaming in. So here's the situation. So how do you figure out strategy? So one of the things, I've played this game a bunch. You'll note I'm looking at Astrakhan. So one of the things I got to figure out is how to open up this supply line here, because the whites, I'm the reds by the way, I'm Lenin. The whites are typically going to launch a big offensive down over here, going this way. This poor slug is just going to get run over probably by Denikin, which is how most games start. You don't have to start that way, but it's a kind of an opening move. And you can see the front lines are like right here. These 2 armies are stuck down in Kuban, and so the problem is they're going to get cut off, and fighting your way back out is tough. But if I can get Astrakhan on my side, all of a sudden, whoop, and I come back in this way. So that's kind of one thing that I'm going to focus on in the political. So when you think about why you have political strategy, you got to back up and say, well, who do I want on my side? And so I'm going to show you. So it just so happens that moving my arm out as far as I can. Here we go. So I happen to have this card, and I have 7 cards, I'll show them to you, but this card I'm going to be basically not using. I'm going to use it for the event. So that's going to help me get Astrakhan under my control, and that means that those poor guys are going to have a way out. The other card that's very important in the opening game is Improved Training, and I happen to have this one for the 1918. That you see the 1918 in the upper right-hand corner. So we only have 15 cards for the first 3 turns. Improved Training means that as my forces come into the game, they won't come in at half strength. They start coming in at, elite units will come in full strength after 1 move. Another Improved Training, and they'll come in. All my armies come in full strength. And then it's always good to have a little switching side, so I can always, if something gets weird, and I might try to pull this off, especially in the south where he doesn't have a leader, I can kind of really mess with him and maybe slow down his offensive. So then that says, what am I not going to do? So I think I'm going to go heavy, I'm going to use these as political cards. They're 4s. They got some good events, but I'll see, with 15 cards, I'll recycle very quickly. But I want to basically try to get Astrakhan, and I want to keep him from getting the Central Powers. Now, the Central Powers, you might have seen the video, Central Powers are only around for like 2 turns. Then they start rolling for the end of World War I, and then once that happens, they're out. And then I'll have a couple of good op cards, 3 and a 2. So that's kind of my turn as I kind of see it. And the goal is to, get Astrakhan. And then, of course, the other thing, which I have to do, that's what one of those cards is going to be for, is if we look, where is he? He is, I know he's over here somewhere. Oh, David's come back. But anyway, we have to shoot the Tsar's over here somewhere. Yeah, there he is. I got to shoot the Tsar. I say a thing, by the way. It's not something I particularly relish, but hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Okay, white strategy. Let's see what I got here. I got these cards. Let's see how this works. There we go. I don't know if you can see them all. There you go. See the values? So what you're trying to do as whites is, at the very beginning, you want to generate some momentum. Generally, white will always be the aggressor at the beginning. It's just how the game works out. And the idea is to build up a head of steam in some front and cause the reds to overreact to it, and then hit in a place that you really want, that you're really concerned with, to try to capture, to get the victory points differential favorable enough so that you can, again, bank up enough points to maybe win the game earlier than later. If it goes long, it generally favors, it will favor the reds. So the whites are trying to win earlier than later, so to speak. So the cards I got. I have this one. Let's see, there we go. Got this one right here. Success of the Southern Front. This card I like to generally use either as ops or toss it in the political game. Kiev or the Cossacks. This allows you to get some influence on Ukraine, or allows you to bring in some Cossack armies. Again, one you would probably like to play as an event if you have that luxury, depending upon what else you have. Next one, Foreign Intervention. High juice card. It's a 5 value. Values of the cards go from 2 to 5. So it's one of the cards that is most useful for activations, to activate a bunch of spaces, or also in the political game. However, the trade-off is it's a pretty good card as an event, because what it allows you to do is to lock the allies' faction control markers into your side once you get them white controlled, and it also enables some other cards later on in the game that provide you with additional allied support. What's the next one? Switch sides. One of my favorite cards. Essentially, what you do is you play this card and make a die roll, and you can cause your opponent's cards, in this case the reds, to flip to your side. Nice card to have at an important time. Improved Training. There's a little ramping up at the very beginning where what ends up happening is all your armies arrive flipped into the game until you push up the training track, essentially. The first push, or first pip on pushing it up, allows elite armies to arrive full, and the next one allows all armies to arrive full. Each side has 2 cards. You have to decide whether or not you want to invest in the training. Support of republics. This removes some of the speed bumps on some of the republics. You can see West Ukraine, Astrakhan, Transcaucasus may now move to white during the political phase. That could be really useful. Again, a trade-off whether or not you use it in the political phase or as action ops during the action phase. Then we've got the Siberian autonomy. This allows the Siberians, that factions or that camp within the whites to build up quicker, and you get some groovy armies. But the trade-off is there's pushes and pulls on various factions, if I remember correctly, and it also precludes Kolchak from becoming in charge of the whites. Historically, the Allies want him in charge, so that causes a hit to Allied support. What else? It's a decent card if you can afford to play it as the event. Next one is Success of Southern Front. I think we already covered that one. That's a good card if you can pull it off, but again, you're short on ops at the beginning of the game, and white's got to get some momentum, so I tend to toss it either in a political game or the military game. So what am I going to do? What factions am I going to go for? I would like to get the Czech Legion. They're real important early. I'd like to prevent anything goofy happening, like the Reds getting the Central Powers on their side. I'd like also to prevent Mark, the red player, from getting Astrakhan. Astrakhan is way down here, if you can see it. It's right east of Kuban and the Don region. And if the Reds get it, they can save a couple armies, these two, easily, that are isolated at the moment. Oh, they will be isolated as soon as the Reds or the Whites attack. And of course, at the very beginning, I'll probably make a lunge for the Tsar, but assuming that Mark pays operations on his first card, he'll be able to execute them. More than likely, I think there's a 1 in 36 chance that he doesn't get executed or something. So I would probably generally put more oomph into the military game the first turn, less oomph into the political game, and try to get some momentum going. So anyways, with that, we'll get on to the political phase. So let's resolve the political cards. The first one is the red pile, and we take a look. We've got a...
No, you're not in the shot. Just go down by there.
How's that?
Yeah, perfect.
We got a 4 value and a 4 value.
Ooh,
you see that?
That's a lot.
So what ends up happening is we take a look at this little table. The combined combat value, 4 plus 4 is 8.
I'm not looking at the table, but...
That's okay. If it's between 7 and 10, that means, since we tied, that we generate 3 random cards from the red deck.
Oh.
So it's going to be a Vegas turn.
Wait, let me.
You go. You shuffle them, toss in 3. Okay.
Hang on, wait. Yeah, okay.
Both the cards that we did are discarded. That's right.
But give me back mine because I'm going to have to have my own. Just throw mine on my side. Sorry, the discard pile there.
Okay, I got mine over there. Okay.
Hang on.
So you do those. We don't look at
So
those.
how many cards am I throwing
3.
in? Okay, so 1, 2, 3 random cards.
Got it. They're in there.
There you go.
Okay, now we're doing the whites, and we take a look at those, and the values are, I put in a 3,
Yeah.
and Mark put in his influence card, so we take a look at there. It says he gets a die roll modifier for the following. Is he ahead in RCs, resource centers? He is, so he gets a +1 for that.
No, I thought you have 8 to 10. No, you're ahead. No, you're white. You're white. You're ahead. No, it's not true.
That's right. So red is ahead. You have 8.
Yeah, but you have 10.
No, you have 8. 8.
Oh, we're not talking about victory. Oh, victories. Oh, sorry.
Right.
Yeah, so I have more resources. That's good.
Resource centers. So you get a +1 for that. Do you control the train? No.
No.
Are you ahead in VCs?
No.
No, I have 10, you have 8. So you get a +1, and you get a die roll modifier negative for each of these. Behind in VCs? Yes, you are. So you're now net at 0. And is red infighting in effect?
No.
No. So roll a die.
Just throw the red one. It's down there.
This
Tell me
one?
what. Yeah, just throw it.
Okay. You got a 2.
What, is that good?
So that is, on a 1 through a 3, you have the card value of 1. So
Okay.
it's a 1 versus a 3. We look on here, 4 cards were generated. I'm 2 higher than you, 3 versus 1, which means I get to pick 2 cards.
From the white deck.
Right. Why don't you stop it? And then
Okay.
we'll do
Political phase, what ended up happening. So what ended up happening is we got some random cards out of the red deck, as we know, because we both put in the same value 4, which put a lot of juice in the political process, but neither of us had any advantage. We just left it to the card gods to decide. I got an advantage in the whites, and the others I got to pick cards. I think I picked 4 cards and 3 were random, is what ended up happening. What happened in the political phase as a result of that? Lithuania moved 1 towards white. Everything else stayed the same. Belarus moved to red control. Finland didn't move. Interestingly, Poland moved 2 boxes to white control, but because they're behind the central power line, where the central powers are, I get no benefit from those guys until the central powers withdraws. But the benefit I do get is that it's in my control, and in order to move out of a box, you need a difference of 3 IP to move out of a control box. Or if you, what prevents moving out of a control box is if you have friendly troops that are occupying that faction's territory. That kind of locks them in place. But anyways, on the other side of the chart, the Brits moved to my control, and we've set up a core. There's a core in Murmansk, Archangel, and Vladivostok. USA moved 1 towards my control. Transcaucasus moved 1 towards my control. Central Powers was a wash. Kiva, I think, starts there. Yep, they didn't move. Astrakhan moved 1 towards my control. Czech Legion moved into my control, which is great because now I can use the troops. And Mark ended up getting Turkestan, which is a good deal for him because Turkestan provides him with an additional resource counter or resource center and an additional victory point. So we adjusted the track here. Hey Mark, can you move it over here? We're keeping track of things, victory points and resources. There's counters to do it, but it's also nice just to use these things. So these blocks indicate, given that it's on a 10, the 10 track and the 0 for the whites, I've got 10 victory points right now, which are these victory cities, basically the big things on the map. Mark's got 9 at the moment. I've got 7 resource centers and he's got 8. And resource centers is what we run through our replacement steps. The other thing that happened in the political phase is that I got 2 replacement steps for the whites. When you select a card, you can declare one of the effects on the card. Some of the cards have them. They're a banner across the top and you'll see them. You can only declare 1 card to have any impact during the political phase, so I chose to take some free replacement steps, so I've got 2 of those. I think we're ready for the action phase, Mark.
Okay, so we're now the opening of my red turn. David's already knocked out some stuff down there, but we're going to try to... the Tsar, unfortunately, has to go. I feel badly, but we're going to roll the die. And the die roll was 4, and the Tsar was executed. May his soul rest in peace. Okay, moving on.
Action round 2. Soviets, or the Reds, they've decided to do a counterattack. Here they're hitting Denikin, and Trotsky's leading a multi-space attack against some poor Cossacks here in the north of the Don, or in the middle of the Don. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so we're at the end of action round 3. Here's what's happened. There was a Soviet a red counterattack, but Denikin was brilliantly succeeded. While Herman,
I should have used the -1 like I wanted to. He lied to me.
Herman totally muffed his die roll, so that was great. So Denikin held on. I've reinforced since. But over here, the whites got blown back. What else happened? Reds just played a strategic SR, strategic redeployment, brought down an army from way up north, reinforced Trotsky, and he dumped Stalin. Uncle Joe is now the commander of
Tsaritsyn. No, Tsaritsyn.
Well, yeah, this time Tsaritsyn, that's right. Okay, cool.
Go ahead.
Okay, so anyways, Herman has foolishly left these poor comrades over here, an army without any. It's not an elite army. It doesn't have a leader, so they may be prone to switch sides. So I've played a switch side card. I need to roll a die, and I'm going to roll it. 1 through 4, they switch. 5 or 6, they don't.
This is not a redo.
This is a redo.
No, it's not.
It is a redo.
No, it's not.
Oh, they switch.
No, you
No,
rolled a
that's
6.
right. We didn't capture it on the tape. What I actually did is I rolled a 6.
That's right. We're not taking that back.
And then what did you say?
I said Hey, we'll film it, but I said don't get the you don't
There's
get the
no
reroll. There's no reroll.
There's no re-rolls.
Okay. So wait. So my next move.
Yep. What's your next move? So this is burned.
Wait. So while we're here,
Oh.
these guys in Rostov, which
Okay.
is the.
But it's a victory city, so it's going to be a +2 on the
What?
roll. You
Oh.
don't care?
Oh, I have to roll plus
Yeah,
2.
Yeah, so it's a 1 or 2. You want to do it?
Yeah, I'm gonna roll.
You can't hit a 1 or 2.
That's the only thing I can hit.
No. No.
2.
What?
It's a 2. Yes. Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Oh wait. Look at that. Ooh.
Okay, so
What just happened? Tell us, David. What just happened when those guys switched sides?
some loyal troops decided that your BS propaganda had an effect on them. Okay, you get to take one of these 3 armies, whatever one you want. One's like a Cav. That's a Cav army, and these are 2 other dudes.
No, I want
this
strong. Yeah.
Okay,
Is any of them elite?
No, what is that one called?
It's called the switch sides.
Okay, good.
WU.
Is there a unit with it? Or what? It's
I
just
don't know. It's
W is West Ukrainian.
Yeah.
It's actually West Galician. Okay, give me that army. Let me show what happens. You know what happens to my army?
No, he goes away.
He goes away. There we go. So he goes into casualties, and your army gets placed right there. And this guy here immediately has to displace, I think, is the rule.
Well, we'll check later.
Yeah, we'll check
He's
later.
out of there. So
You know what's really, 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 really bad?
That's your supply line, isn't it?
These guys are isolated right
Yes, I knew it.
Oh.
I was waiting for the. See, I'm gonna
now.
go late.
And put this in your strategic reserve.
Thank you.
Oh.
So
And you know what it costs to activate these guys? It's 1 per unit.
yeah, so you got to. Was it 5 to get
It's
him?
3.
Oh, the leader doesn't count, right? Okay, so we'll come back to you guys soon.
Mark, why don't you tell us what happened at this city right here?
Basically, I couldn't roll anything but a 1 for about 4 times in a row. So yeah,
That was
everything
horrible.
everything went bad. You
Yeah.
kept rolling.
Absolutely.
I rolled everything bad, and that's just the way it's going to be
It
in
was
life.
bullshit.
And you took back Rostov. I lost
Woohoo!
Tsaritsyn. I beat up you guys a little bit, but that's about all.
The big battle was right here.
Oh yeah, I blew that. If I had held you off, then you would have lost like
I
50
would've
guys.
lost it.
The game would have been over.
No, but I would have lost a leader, 2 armies, and a corps.
Yeah, which would have been it.
It'd
Yeah.
have been
So
disaster.
So that's when I rolled a 1. That was beautiful. So anyway, that's life in the fast lane of the Russian Revolution.
There we go. On to turn 2.
This is now turn 2. I'm just going to talk a little bit about. So this situation down here, which could have gone with 1 die roll, this could have been like a total victory down here, but everything went bad. So welcome to the Russian Revolution. So I'm going to have to, there's nothing down there for me to hold on to now, so I'm going to pull back. So basically, using David's wand, these guys are going to start pulling back this way. There's no point in trying to duke it out. I got to make sure I don't lose. This is a critical space. I can't lose this place. I can't lose there. So I'm just going to pull back and let him try to chase me, and that'll string him out. He doesn't have a lot of forces, so the more this is Russia, so you want to trade space for time. Now, looking over here, the gold train, where's the gold train? There it is. So there's this train of gold over here. Let me see. I'm trying to make sure it's in the shot. Yeah, there it is. It's over here. It's trying to get out, and the way he's got to do it, he's got to bust his way through this little log jam here. So he's going to want to fight in here. I'd like to keep the train and deal with it, but right now, with the south falling apart, things are getting a little bit tough. And the other thing that's really kind of interesting is I've got a couple of cards that he doesn't know about yet, but all of these forces in here are the social revolutionaries, and I was able last turn to move them to the verge of coming to my side, and basically I have a card that, barring another catastrophe die roll, all of these forces will become mine. So this is going to be the surprise for this turn of how that goes, and we'll see how it goes. I just got to start rolling 6s when I need 6s and 1s when I need 1s, and so far I've got it backwards. Well, that's life, but it's a heck of a good time.
You're walking out. Oh, hey, Herman. I actually was down 2 columns on the out of supply attack, but because you rolled so miserably, you saved my bacon, man. Otherwise, I would have lost the 2 armies, a leader and a corps.
Don't tell me this.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, so I got my cards. Herman's out of the room. Here you go. So I have a 3 value card, a 4 value card, a 5 value card, and you see the rest of them. When I look at these, there's some cards that I really want to use at events. So for example, the red infighting, I want to use that as an event. I'm not going to risk that. Socialist revolutionaries, I probably have to use it as an event because the socialist revolutionaries are only 1 space now away from becoming red, which would change the situation in the East rather dramatically. So I have to deal with that. God bless the Tsar. It allows me to flip two units to full. That's always handy. Improved training. I got to work on my training. Right now, my reinforcements, all of them are coming in flipped whenever I place them because I haven't invested in trainings. Greens can be devastating. Basically, you pick a region and you roll a die, and you can place a whole bunch of green units. What green units do is they're enemy to both sides. But more importantly, they can cut supply. So if you pick a region, one of the red home regions, you can really mess up. I could really mess up red, so I might want to use that. These 3 cards are probably the ones I got to decide about what I'm going to put into the political phase. There's Finns or Czechs. Czech Legion I don't need. I already control them, but I could work on the Finns and push their faction control marker one in my direction, so I might even get control over Finland. I like to keep that card. Udinich or von der Goltz. This sets up 2 intervening forces later in the game. Udinich, of course, as historically he comes up in the west, up in the Baltics, and he historically made the lunge on Petrograd and just about took it. But Trotsky trained there and rallied the troops, and they beat back Udinich, and that was the end of him. Kolchak's coup. Kolchak's coup is. It is a pretty important card in the game. It sets you in one of 2 paths. Either you bring in Kolchak, which historically the Allies wanted him in as essentially a dictator in order to get some control over the white forces and put him in charge. So you get some more troops, but when you do that, you really piss off the Czech Legion. They didn't like him because they're more socialist leaning, so to speak. So you force them away, if I remember correctly. And also the socialist revolutionaries don't like him, so that would cause me problems. So I don't know if I can do that this game. And what else? I think that's it. Yeah. So anyways, I'll probably dump Kolchak into the... I don't know if I'm going to use him in political phase or military phase yet. And what am I trying to do militarily? Militarily, probably consolidate, put pressure on the Reds down here in the south, and also I'm going to try to do a gambit in the east to try to free up a space so that the Imperial Gold and Silver train can get moving further into White's control and away from the Reds. The control of the train gives you various positive modifiers on a number of things. What else? I could also take a lunge and start to move on Saratov. If the Whites can get Saratov early in the game, they stand a good chance at winning the game. It's a pretty important space. So I'll probably, maybe I'll try to go in that direction if I don't consolidate. So anyways, that's it. On to the political phase for turn 2. Victory points. Oh, I forgot to do that. I'll tell Mark. I'm at 11 and he's at 8 from the first turn, so that means the victory points are now 3 for the Whites. And again, the idea is you want to try to get them up to about 20. If you get them up to 20, then you start rolling to see if you win the game. So I'll note that, and I'll get Mark back in the room. Okay, we're on the political phase, and Herman's deciding which cards to toss into the... there we go. Into the 3 political boxes right here. There's the other political box, the white political box, the red political box.
Okay, so which was the red political box?
Right at the top, the guy with Trotsky. There you go. And then the white political box. And then the other. Okay. So, we're going to flip these over right now. And look at that. 2 5 cards. Okay. So that means that we are going to generate 3 random reds. So why don't you deal those out, Herman? Next one, the white box. Herman tossed a 2, I tossed an influence card, so I have to see what the modifiers are. I'm ahead in VCs, I control the train, that's 2 of them. You're ahead in RCs. The Tsar is no longer alive. So no infighting, Kolchak's not on, I'm not behind. So I get a +2, I'm gonna roll a dice, here we go. So that becomes a 7. That means I have a 3 card value versus a 2. We look here, it's a difference of 1. So I get to pick 1 card and 1 is generated random. So
This is
give
the
me
white
the
ones.
whites. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll flip the random one out.
Why might pick it?
Oh, you got the.
There you go. Let me pick one. I'll do this quick, Herman, so we don't slow the process down. That looks pretty good. What am I trying to do? It's always a good idea to know what you're trying to do in the political phase before you pick the cards. Don't need that one.
This must be-
Okay,
yeah.
I've got a card. So I've put one down there. And
Oh,
why
these
don't-
are the.
Yep.
These are these.
Why don't you do 3 randoms for us? Or do 1 random?
Yes, just one random. right?
Yep, and then on the last one, the other deck, I did a bluff, and Herman did a, there you go. You have an influence, roll a die, your modifiers are your behind. What did you get?
I rolled 3.
A 3, you don't control the train, you're ahead in RCs though, right? But you're behind in VCs, so there's no infighting, so 3 stays, there's no modifier, it's a 1 card value, I have a 1 card value, generate 1 card out of the other deck. Random.
This is the.
That's the one.
Oh, the other.
Yeah, Rasputin. Okay, and we'll just check it out. Here we go. So, turn 2 action rounds. Essentially, what happened was that the whites pressed, as you can see, they're threatening Saratov now. We're behind the line over here. Trotsky had to pull back in order to screen against the Don Cossacks. The line was pretty solid all the way through here. In the east, what happened was the Czech legions liberated Perm, and then also took a space that now allows the Imperial Gold and Silver train to roll out and get further to the east. However, Herman popped up an insurrection.
Kelly's heroes. They're looking for the train.
That's right. That's right, mate. He popped them up. It says on the card, I think, Euro South, but it should be Euro Central. So apologies for that mistake, but you'll figure it out. It's the only one that's south here in the Urals. The other one's north. I don't know why I called it Central. It should have been south. So anyways, so he popped them up and immediately took out a Siberian white unit, and I've had to send the Czech Legion after this insurrection corps that's chasing after the gold, right?
They're looking for the gold, baby. We hear it's in a bank behind German line. Oh, that's another movie.
That's another movie. And we both played, I think, we played a fair number of events setting up the game longer term. I played one that will allow Udinich to come in at some point later in the game. And also I invested finally in my white arriving reinforcements. Until I do that, any reinforcement armies that come in flipped. And so right now, at least my lead armies arriving will be full, the same as Herman's. Herman, you got any thoughts on the action rounds?
Yeah, well, I figured that the main thing was once I, my disastrous offensives in the south, there was commissars shot. We shot a few guys for that one. We pulled back, made a solid line. I mean, he may take it, but it's going to be, as long as I can even roll model, but he cannot get through that easily because I've got.
You want the one?
Yeah, I got the one. This is all pretty solid forces in here, and more importantly, we brought the Czech in. We're going to start shooting people. If they try to leave Star off, we have the Czech giving a special don't retreat rule.
That's right.
Yeah, so they're we're bringing in the secret police. Hey, listen.
Here, wait, and you can roll the die roll. 1 or 2, the Central Powers leave the game. Go ahead and roll it.
All right, Central
Wait,
Powers.
throw it over there. 1 or 2, they're out. 5. Okay, they'll be around for another turn. Okay.
I'm not sure that's a bad thing for me.
That's not a bad thing for you. That's
Yeah,
right.
so I'm good with that.
Good.
And the other thing is that I'm starting to I've been able to put a little bit of pressure in the east because I got to open up another front on this guy. Now, the one good thing is that the whites are starting to, they don't have a lot of forces, and they're starting to spread out as they advance. So I'm looking for a chance for a, that if he gives me 1 second, I'm going to counterattack like nobody's business. So you watch out, buddy.
And you are due a die roll higher than 1 when you
One of these days.
on a critical
One of
attack.
these days, one of these attacks is going to go my way.
Okay,
All right.
turn 3.
Hey man, it's time we got to start killing something. We got to push you back a little bit.
So,
Trotsky's going in, baby.
okay, let's do combat. I could because I have a leader. Oh no, you played during the political phase. Remember, there was that thing on the political cards that restricted the Don Caucus guys.
Right.
So he
is.
he can't withdraw.
Oh.
He's busy with doing something he shouldn't be doing. His head's not in the game. So he is there. He can't do anything. So what do you got here in terms of what's your total?
I've got 9 and the 5 elite strength elite.
Okay, so
with Trotsky.
Let's do it this way. You have 9 and I have 6.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm on the 9 army table and the 6 army table. Now, what are the modifiers? What's the first?
Who's the better leader?
You are. So you get a +1. What else?
Most elite steps. I think we're even on that, right?
We're even. What else?
No assets. We only have 1 camp. You don't have the coffin.
No.
You didn't fail withdrawal because you didn't try.
No.
Defender and that's it.
So cool. So you have a +1. So you're on the 9 table +1, and your roll is
A 5 finally. 5 hits. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm on the what? 6 table.
Yeah, with no modifiers.
And I get a 4.
I got you. 5 to 4. I win.
Are you happy?
Finally.
Are you happy?
I needed a +1 to pull it off, though.
Good.
Trotsky
So
wins
what
the
did you
battle.
do? 5 to me?
Yes.
Okay. So I flip my elite.
Yep.
I'm getting rid of this thing that takes 2, and I have to bring on a core to replace them. That's a gun, Cossack, Cav, something. There we go. So he comes on, and he also flips, and off I go.
Right.
And I have to go 1 space. I'll go right there. Okay. And hey, don't you take some losses, man?
Yeah. You
Flip something.
Yeah.
How many did I do to you? 4?
Yep. So
Okay.
I flip a 3.
And
Not
he
the
get-
elite.
And he flips again.
Why?
Because he only takes, you see his loss factors are 2. So get rid of him.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
And then put a core on.
Yeah, but I can put a core because I have extra core.
There you go.
And I
And
got
are you
here.
advancing?
Of course I am.
Good.
Now here's the cool thing. This guy got that. Remember I put that cavalry behind him?
Oh, you're saying I have to take ops, or I have to surrender my threatening position on Sarah?
I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying that I moved that guy. This was a coordinated strike, so I already had the cavalry behind you, hoping to make you think about it. So you'll let us know what you're going to do in a second.
I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah, good. Let's hear it.
Keep it going, and we'll film the last one here.
All right.
I will play. I'll play this crummy greens card. I'm not going to do that right now for 2 ops.
Yeah.
And 1 activation will be to blow this thing away automatically. As you can see, I just have armies.
Yeah.
It's an automatic kill.
Okay.
So we'll just blow it out of there, and we'll actually pull back with.
Wait a minute. If you attack, you're not moving. Oh, you're advancing at the combat.
You got it.
But did you make no move then? Because moves have to go before attacks.
Correct. I have 1 other activation. I'm doing it out of order.
Okay, so you just want to say that you're
Yep.
you're cheating. That's just
You-
want to be clear.
Okay. I wouldn't call it cheating. Okay, where's your move markers? Do we have any move
They're your
markers?
move markers anyway.
Where are they?
Because you never gave me my free
Are
copy
they over
like you
there?
promised for my
It's
work I've
in the
done.
mail. Talk to Ed. Again, he's waiting for a supply of barrels from Tahiti.
I told him I don't need barrels.
That's what I told him too. Why do people need barrels? Mark's got more pieces of
I got wood.
wood.
I got a
Wood.
closet full of wood.
Yeah, okay, so this is going to be attack.
Yeah.
I'll put the combat marker. Are you happy now?
Yes, I am. Now, where's the move first? I want to see the move.
I'll do an attack out east
Okay.
on Von Ryan.
All right. So now you can kill the guy because you did that
Maybe.
attack.
Okay, let's see.
And my Von Ryans express out here. Is that what you're
Right.
going to do?
So this thing is going to get wiped out automatically. And
You're going
then
to
it
fall
goes-
back to give you a supply line.
Yeah, just to be a little prudent. So that's done. And then in the east, what are we doing? So I'm on a 5 elite table versus a 2 table for you.
Yep.
You've got a leader of all things, but I have an elite, so that balances out, right?
Yeah.
So it's a 0. So I'm on the 5 table. You're on the 2 table. Let's
Roll, baby.
dice.
Let me see what you got.
Here's a 5 table.
Ooh.
Insurrection's dead.
That's-
You did 5 on a 2 table. You did 3 to me. You flipped me, but
They're dead.
they're dead. And goodbye to that
Well, that's
thing.
okay.
What happened to them? Did they get the gold?
No, they're dead.
But they did. They cost me.
The tiger tank got them.
Okay, and now it's your one. You leave it roll and do
Oh,
the
yeah.
last move, and we're in business.
Yeah, so the way I look at this now is it's the last move. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do ops.
Yes.
And I am going to definitely not use that card.
It's the last move for turn 3.
Yeah, so I'm going to play a 4 ops card.
Go.
And let me put my little markers
Deal with the
down.
devil. There we go.
Move. I don't know where the...
We're always easy. Here's a one. You
I
want
need
another
one more.
I don't know where the other one is.
All right. Oh, here it is.
Good. I should have made it bigger.
All right. So the first thing I'm going to do, this is going to be a move here.
Did you take replacements this turn? Oh, you got.
No,
two
I got them
coming.
because of the
the political phase.
the political phase. Stalin's attacking
Okay.
that guy, and that guy's moving. Trotsky is going to hold in place. I am going to start to move.
Good idea.
Those guys are going to take forever to get anywhere. I was going to move those guys, but they're dead, so they can't move.
I'm so glad I killed the insurrection.
Now, if I attack these social,
This revolutionaries.
they'd be going your side.
Yeah, they immediately go to committing to me and locked for the game.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Because they're still in play. Is my point. If they
If they were like already
Yeah.
on your side, I'd attack them. But
Yeah.
I don't need you to have more soldiers.
No.
Then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move here.
Cool. Do your moves.
All right. Let's see. This move is going to be,
Those guys.
yeah. Now see, what do I have here? I've got, so
You
this
can
army,
reinforce Trotsky.
that's
There you
exactly
go.
what I'm going to do.
And the other guy is just going to hold the position.
Not necessarily.
Oh, well, then
If I go here, he could get cut off,
Yeah,
but it also gives me,
You can put him down here.
I could put him down there. I think actually, oh, this guy's slow, so I can move the cav though.
Yeah, but this People's Army, he's going to be able to get in the front line.
Yeah, I like that. So this guy here, all right, we're going to come back to him, okay? I'm finishing my moves first. So this guy is going to come to the front lines
Right.
here, and the cav is, so he's fully stacked, right?
Yeah.
He's got two
Your
armies of the
line's
core
fully stacked except for,
there. So I'm going to put this core
Good.
in there.
and then the Cav, where are you putting him?
The cav
Do you
is-
need anything in the
I
east?
do, and he's fast, and that's what I'm going to actually start to do with him. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4,
Cool.
5, just to get. I got to get. That's where the cav is useful. They can move around out there.
Cool.
All right, so I got this. I got this combat.
Okay. Is there any other combats? Just that
No,
one?
that's four. It was my own
Okay,
combat.
so Denikin's going to try to reinforce.
No, Denikin is not. He's a Don Cossack.
No, he's not. He's not a Don
Who's a Don
Cossack.
Cossack?
What's his name? Krasnov is.
Oh,
It
Krasnov.
says-
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
it says Don Cossack.
I didn't know who's a Don
So,
Cossack. Okay.
Here we go. So Denikin tries to reinforce. He needs a 1 through 4. Okay.
All right.
He's in.
He's in. Good. We'll have a
So he
big
brings
battle.
in another volunteer army.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. So now the combat is going to be the following here.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have you're-
9, 10, 11.
Yeah, but you're on the 9 table. I'm on the 9 table
Why am I both on the 9 table?
because there's not a 12. There's not an 11 table.
Oh, right, that's right, yeah. We're both
So
on
you're
the
on the 9 table. I'm on the 9 table. You have more elites than I do
Yep.
because you have this army. I have an army, but you
The Cheka.
secret police are in.
Yeah.
So that's a +1. I've got a better leader. That's a +1 for me. So that's 0.
Yeah, got
Okay,
it.
so I'm on the 9 table. You're on the 9 table. Let's
Yeah.
roll some dice, mate.
Let me
Why
go
don't you
get
toss it in here? What dice? Use the red dice. Come on, it's the time. Here you go.
We'll drop the simultaneously.
Go.
Oh my God. You
Wait.
upstairs.
3 and 2.
3 and 2 on the 9 table. Well, 3. Well, they're even. 4, 4.
There we go.
That's okay. You're beat up.
I'm beat up. Just a second. I think,
And you have. Did you get any replacement? You did take some replacement.
I think
So 4 is just going to flip one of these guys and the Cheka guy.
and flip one of mine.
Well, you get
Yeah,
to flip.
here we go.
You're not going to flip
Oh, look
the
at this
elite.
one. No, this one I don't want to flip. You see the volunteer
Oh,
3
yeah.
has a thing in the upper right-hand corner. I can never replace that once that flips. So I'll be like this, but then it can hold.
Oh, wait. Now, if you have to take 4 if you can take 4. That's the rule.
Yeah, but I can't. See?
No, because you have to take 4. This guy. That's
They're
your-
both 4.
Oh, they're both 3.
Yeah, they're both 3, so I can't take.
Oh, I thought it was a 2.
No.
Oh, the 2 is his movement.
That's okay.
What am I looking at?
You're
Okay.
a young guy. You're
right.
an old guy with
All right.
eyesight's
I thought you.
failing.
Yeah, my eyesight is definitely going.
Okay, so let's recap where we're at now. So
Yeah.
it's the end of turn 3, but wait, roll a die to see if the central powers withdraw. You want to roll it?
No, you roll it.
Okay. Central powers are out of the game.
Yeah.
Because they withdraw on a 1 through 4. I actually played a card to allow me to influence the die roll 1 into my direction if I want to. So the central powers goes away. So they're out, all of them go. And what happens then...
Boy, I'm going to stop this now for while you sort. This is the 11. All right.
End of turn 3. We haven't done the logistics. We're going to do replacements, but here's what happened: is the central power just withdrew from the game.
Well, no,
Central Powers
they surrendered. The war's over.
That's
World War
right.
I just ended.
World War I just ended, so they're done. Okay, and what that means is any faction behind the central powers line, which it runs all the way here, is now in play. So we're going to look at who controls what. I'm going to get Estonia.
Estonia.
Why do I keep saying that?
I don't know why
It's
you keep doing it. It's called
ridiculous.
Estonia.
I know. It must be some ridiculous program.
Lithuania, you're going to
Thank
get.
you. And Lithuania. So those two are going to come, and we're going to set up troops for them. And Makano's going to come to...
Oh, good. And I get that. He's behind your lines almost.
Right. So you're going to get that.
And the Ukraine, you get anything Ukrainian?
No, nothing else is in play. So the net effect of this is, as we set this up,
Yeah.
and it occurs in the beginning of next turn, okay?
Yeah.
So it'll be the beginning of turn 4. Right now, at this moment, it hasn't, but it will impact next turn, which allows each player to try one last try at getting these guys on their sides now, now that the central power is withdrawn. So that's what's going to happen there. So that'll put white forces over here in the Baltics, and it'll put Makano in the backyard of my white forces in the south, who have been making great progress up to this point. So where are we in terms of victory points at the moment? We are at victory cities for whites are 12, 7 for red. So that'd be 5 more victory points added to the whites. The whites now have victory points of 13. Again, once you get up to about 20, I think, if I remember in the rules, we start to roll dice to see if the game's going to end.
Not going well for me.
It's not horrible. It's not horrible.
It's not good.
I'm serious. It's not
I got a
horrible.
pile of dead guys.
Yeah, you got a pile of dead guys, and you would need to replace those. And the line right now, Saratov is still in question, and we don't know what's going to happen.
Well, I'm gonna fix. Remember, I have replays them. I'll fix all. They're all going back to full
correct.
strength.
You'll get them back to full. I would say, yeah, you're down. I would list it at 60-40 in my favor, maybe a little higher, but that's how a lot of games go.
Yeah, till this point.
Till this point, it's very typical. If the whites don't have a 60-40 edge by now, it's generally not going to go well for the whites.
Yeah.
Whites have to build up some
Well,
momentum.
but I would say though that I would still pursue the strategy I did on first turn. I would pursue again. It just,
that was really good. Yeah, and what Mark did was he put together forces that caught me off balance in the south, and it's only because of his horrible dice rolls.
No, it's okay.
Didn't set me.
You got to live life. You got to play the best strategy you can, and the dice do what they do. That's
Cool.
life.
So I think we're probably done for today, and we did the first 3 turns. What do you think, Herman?
Oh, we're gonna keep playing. This is one of those games you and I over the next year we're gonna play a lot, and it'll be cool. And since I have the only table big enough, it'll always be here.
Well, yeah, absolutely. When we're in New York, that's right. Cool. Well, anyways, cool. Well, thanks, Mark.
All right, buddy.
Yep. Talk soon.